Welcome to Clement's Family Farm. Today we're talking about vanilla sugar and how I process my vanilla pods from the extract into sugar. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe down below and let's move on to the video. Here we are again in another episode. Today we're going to be talking about vanilla sugar. So what do I do with all my spent beans from making vanilla extract? They're all right here. So like I said before, I try to stretch out my vanilla beans as much as possible to get the most I can out of each bean. The way I figured out it works best for me is after I do the extraction is making vanilla sugar or ground vanilla. That's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go ahead and dehydrate these and get them in the dehydrator. It may take about 12 to 24 hours. I'll probably let them go a little longer this time. I want them super dry, crispy. If you leave too much moisture in there, they will cake up on you when you try to grind them. But today, that's what we're going to do. Put them in there, and then when they're done, I'll come back and I'll show you how to grind them and get them into sugar. So now I'm going to do, I've got these trays. Mine's set up a little different. It's got these cutouts. So these are the upper ones to allow the airflow. And then, since these are so fine or chopped up, on these racks it'll go through. So now, got to get these silicone mats. You can use parchment paper, that's fine, or wax paper. It's not going to make any difference. But I do also do fruit leather. These silicone mats are worth their weight in gold. Yeah, especially if you're homesteaders doing different fruits or fruit leather, this is the way to go. Nothing sticks to these things. Also, when I put them in the trays, I stagger my mats because they're a little smaller than my actual trays are, or my wire racks. So I stagger them so it allows the air flow freely. I don't put them all the way to the edge. I leave about 1.5 inches from each edge so that the air can flow around there. But all I'm going to do is spread these out. You could pile them up if you want. It's not going to make that big a difference. But the more airflow you can get around all this, the better. It's just if you pile them up too much, it'll take longer and you'll have to break them up. These will shrink. But I gotta tell you, this room smells incredible right now. So all I'm going to do now is put it in the dehydrator. So I am going to stagger it inside my dehydrator also. So the next tray is going to go here. The more airflow you can get around there, the better. So one of the other things I'll do too is after these have run for about 4 hours, I'll go in with my fingers and break them up a little bit because they'll start to dry out. These will dry pretty quick. So now you can see in there that each one of these mats are staggered, so this allows the airflow to go in and out and then out the back. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and turn on my machine. It's going to get a little loud in here, so I'm going to do it at the very end. So I'm going to turn on my machine. I'm going to set it about 140 degrees, and then for the timer, I'm going to set it for 24 hours. I'm going to come back here and let's see, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. I'm probably going to check it before I go to bed, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and look at them. Of course, I'm going to check them before then. I'm always checking them. I'll pull them out. I'm going to look at them, see what they're doing, if they're dry enough, because they're going to dry pretty quick. I'll separate them a little bit more, and then I'll come back in the morning, look at them. They should be almost finished by morning, but I'll probably let them go until the next day, because I do want them super, super crisp, just better for grinding. All right, we'll see you in the morning. So I dehydrated them, got them in here, and now I'm gonna make vanilla sugar with it. But first, I need to grind them up as fine as I can. The finer that you can grind them up, the more contact and more flavor that you'll produce in your vanilla sugar. So that's what we're gonna do today. So as you can see here, these are all dried and ready to go. I have another jar here from last year. It's been a while since I've done vanilla extract, but I saved this jar for this day to make some vanilla sugar because I just used my last jar of vanilla sugar last month and I need to make more. So vanilla sugar is really easy. So I'll tell you, I'm not sponsored by anything that I'm using here. All my equipment and stuff, none of my videos are sponsored. I'm just telling you what I like and the equipment that I'm using and some of the stuff I've been through. So if I'm naming brands and stuff like that, it's just because this is what I'm using and this is what I really like. We'll go off of my blender. I like this Ninja blender because it has multiple blades and it seems to really blend up really well. The blender doesn't quite get my vanilla pods fine enough. It will get it fine enough to where I can actually put this in my coffee grinder and get it down smaller. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let's go ahead and get these things going and let's go through the process. So I'm just going to fill my blender up probably with about half this. Like I said, this doesn't get them down fine grind. So what I'm going to do is, I got my trusty old buckets here again. I'm going to pull this out. And then I'm going to put this over a sieve. I'm going to replace this, put my blades back in, and then I'm going to fill it back up. So I'm just going to sieve this out a little bit. What I'm trying to do is get all that fine stuff down the bottom. It just smells incredible in here. So you could tell from here, it's still pretty coarse. This thing just breaks it up enough to where I can use it in my coffee grinder. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this batch. I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of these in there and do it one more time. Right back into the sieve. Same thing, this thing's coated with this nice fine powder. Make sure to get it all out. And I'm going to go ahead and sieve this Well, that's pretty much what I'm going to get. There are some coarser pieces in here. But that's about as fine as I'm going to get. But I might run it through the... Might run it through the grinder one time. Yeah, that helped a little bit. So the coffee grinder is probably the only thing I found so far that gets it really, really fine. To get any finer than this, I haven't found anything that works. So if all you know what I can use to grind super fine, please leave a comment below. I'd be happy to find something new. But for what I'm doing, this works great. So here's a pro tip for you. Don't use your blender or your grinder with star anise or any oily spices or anything like that, because you'll never get the smell out of these grinders, and you'll have to use it designated for grinding like star anise. I did that once and I made the mistake. So now I have a blender, not this one, that's only dedicated to essential oils and like star anise, grinding up that type of herb. So anyway, if you've got a grinder or stuff like that, make sure you keep them clean for coffee and other stuff that's like vanilla, because you can skew the flavor of your vanilla if it's got star anise in it, or some sort of flavor. Anyway, learn from your lessons. Now I've got multiple things and now dedicated for grinding star anise. All right, so I'm just gonna take my lid off. So my recipe is 5 cups of sugar, 5 cups of sugar. So I use these half-gallon mason jars for everything because they're easy to handle. My wife, my daughter can handle them to shake them, because with vanilla sugar, you still have to shake them like you would do an extract. So 5 cups. So I'm going to put 2. So I'm going to put 3 in here. And then I'm going to use, I use not quite a cup of the grounds. I use about 3/4 of a cup. So about 3/4 of a cup per 5 cups of sugar. So I got 3 in there now. There's 4. There's 5. All right, so I'm gonna set this aside. Put that in there. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix this up by hand. Okay, so I'm gonna readjust my recipe now, because so I can tell right now my vanilla to sugar ratio, there's a lot more vanilla per sugar. I'm gonna add more sugar to this. I'm gonna add 2 more cups to this, give it a mix, and then I'm gonna look at it again. So there's 1, 2. So now we are at 7 cups per 3/4 cups of vanilla. It's still really brown. I want that sugar to be a little bit on the white side right in the very beginning. That gives you the right ratio for this to age and blend I mean, this would make a great vanilla right now, but I'm trying to stretch it out as much as I can and still get great vanilla sugar. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep blending this until I see just a little bit more white in here. I'm gonna go ahead and just do 10 cups. And to make the recipe easy, I'm gonna add another 1/4 of a cup of the beans. Mix it in. So now I've got a 1/2 a cup of ground vanilla to 5 cups of sugar. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. It's still a little dark for what I normally do. But that's gonna make a great vanilla sugar. All right, got my extra bucket. And what I wanna do is I wanna go ahead and actually pour this out and make sure everything is blended good. So I'm looking at it as it's coming down and everything is blended really nice. So I am going to sieve this one more time because just in case there's any clumps in the sugar, I want to make sure I get that all out. And then if there's any big sticks of the vanilla, I want to make sure I get that out too. Okay, I'm happy with that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and grind. Ooh. I'm going to go ahead and just grind this up and add it back into these. Because obviously that was part of the measurement that I had. And the rest back into here. So now that completes the recipe because taking it out just lightened up the recipe. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. All right, I knew that one was going to be shy. Okay, so I got all the jars filled. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to vacuum seal them all. For one, keeps the air out because these are dried. I don't want any moisture getting in these. And the others, it does help fluff it up a little bit because it's pulling out that air. It's hard to explain, but it does fluff it up a little bit and keeps it from clumping. I don't know how to explain it, but so I'm using my old lids again, metal lids with the coating on the bottom. I just cleaned my head for my vacuum sealer. I love these things. They're really hard to come by right now. This one's made by Food Saver. Put that on, turn it on, and then I got canister mode. All right, so it took me a second try on this one because it did have a little dent in it. So I fixed the dent on it, put it on a seal, and it worked fine. But so this lid will stay on without a ring, but sometimes they will have like a little piece of something in there, and then over a couple days the seal will break. I'm only going to do this once, not like the extract where I do it a couple times during the week where I vacuum seal it. Nope, I'm just going to do it once. I'm just going to put a lid on it just to stay on there in case I shake it and it's
and the seal's broken. It doesn't go flying everywhere. But so that's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to shake this a couple times a day to get everything loosened up and get everything flowing together. So I'm going to keep going.
All right, that wraps up my vanilla sugar. I know this is a lot of process and everything, but I think this is the best way to stretch out those vanilla beans and extract as much flavor that you can from those pods. So I go from the extract to sugar. It's really stretching it out. This will make a fantastic vanilla sugar. I'll use it for my sugar cookies and some of the other stuff that we bake with. Some of it, I'll also package it up and have it available to sell. I have a few friends that buy it from me. Look at how beautiful this is. It's just incredible the way the color is. This has probably been one of my better batches of vanilla sugar in a long time. Because usually the sugar doesn't get this nice golden brown until about 2 or 3 days into it. Now, this vanilla had a lot of richness to it. It showed throughout the whole process because my bottles are beautiful, dark, and now the sugar's beautiful and dark. So I've been very pleased with this batch. So that's my vanilla sugar. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope one day you guys get to the point where you're doing the same thing. I love hearing everybody's comments and where they're at and doing what they're doing with their vanilla. So I do appreciate everybody with their comments down below. So none of my videos are sponsored. We do everything on our own. So everything that we've done, we do it because we like it, it works for us, and we've had success with it. We're only going to show you some of the success that we've had with this stuff. Share our process with you. If you guys do want to help support us, we do have I'll have a link down below to our storefront where we do sell t-shirts and coffee mugs. It was the one way we can give back to everybody and also help support what we're doing. So we do appreciate everybody, and like always, we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.